This is Ben Jordan, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. And as usual, I am here with my brother from the same father and mother, Jared the Plastic Sheik Street. And guess what, y'all? My boy had a birthday. How was your birthday, Sheik?
Man, it was good. We hung out with some friends, went camping.
Was it glamping or camping?
I was in a tent, brother, with no wind flow going through the tent, and it was about 80 degrees in the tent. So,
ooh, where'd you go?
It's in South Carolina, Lake Kiowee, I think it's actually. It's near Clemson, kind of.
Okay, yeah.
I got some friends down that way, and
yeah,
it was hot.
Well, how was little Sheik on his birthday?
Yeah, we went. My buddy has a boat and took us out behind the boat tubing and stuff like that. And
right.
Little Sheik is quite a fan of tubing behind the boat, and
ooh,
he likes to do that. He's always up for it. He wanted we told him on the way down, we're like, well, hey, we're not going to be home for your birthday, so you may not get any presents to open on your birthday. And he's like, well, I'm little, I want a present. So
come on.
I stopped at Walmart and got him a Matt Riddle figure. He'd wanted a Matt Riddle figure a while back, and he always wants a Lamborghini. And and so I got him a Lego Lamborghini.
Nice.
Mom and Dad, I told them about it, and they're like, well, he sounds like his Uncle Jimmy wanting a Lamborghini.
Well, he might have something coming from Uncle Jimmy and Aunt Michelle for sure. Absolutely. So see that in the mail soon, hopefully. But
right.
Yeah, he's liking Lamborghinis. That's awesome. Yeah. Lamborghini taste on a Silverado budget. How's that?
Well, his budget's like a Power Wheel budget or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you know who has a boat and probably has a tube that can haul him behind it really well is Pawpaw. So
yeah, we'll have to get Pawpaw to haul him around behind us.
All you have to do is tell him he likes it, and that'll be the next thing Pawpaw does. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we know you had a birthday, a happy birthday, from all the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling listeners. And, today we've got a great episode. The wild boy himself, Ben Jordan. I can't wait to have him on.
I got to go ahead and shout it out. Happy birthday to Doug Markham, too. So
happy birthday to Gator McAllister as well.
Yeah,
happy
Gator
birthday to
McAllister,
Steve Neely as well. Listen to how many wrestlers have your birthday. I mean, it's crazy, brother. Everybody, I posted that, and then everybody's like, oh, I got a birthday today, too. And I was like, well, it's a collection. So, yes, happy birthday to Plastic Sheik. Happy birthday to Plastic Sheik Jr. Happy birthday to Doug Markham. Happy birthday to Gator McAllister. Happy birthday to Steve Neely. Happy birthday to whoever else has the same birthday as the Plastic
Macaulay
Sheik.
Culkin does.
Macaulay Home Alone. Golly, everybody. So, yeah. Wow. Well, anyway, so, yeah, it was a big day. But obviously, last week was covered in a lot of sadness for the wrestling world. Unfortunately, not only did we lose one of the greatest of all time, in my personal opinion, I think Terry Funk is on par with one of the greatest ever, but we also lost possibly one of the greatest of all time that would be in, Bray Wyatt. And I don't know, man, it's, Terry was in a spot, he was older, he'd had a full career.
It kind of seemed like it was gonna be his time soon anyway, from some of the health updates you've been hearing about him. So
yeah.
Doesn't make it any easier or anything like that, but
right. Man, I just played Desperado over and over again and just thought about Terry Funk, man. But then the very next day, I look on my phone, check Twitter, and I'm like, hold on, because you never can tell anymore with this stuff.
No, there's fake stuff and everything like that. But man, you texted me that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, 36 years old, man. For a
second, I saw, his shoot name, Wyndham Rotunda, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, huh? I was like, no way. I was like, no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Apparently he died due to some heart complications that had, come along from having COVID and stuff like that. I don't really know. I mean, that's kind of a broad stroke of a paintbrush when you say some of that, because you assume like a heart attack or like a blood clot or something like that from something.
Right. Yeah.
You just don't know. And I mean, it's a private time for the family. Maybe more will come out with it, and maybe it won't, but that's fine. It's their business. But really sad, third generation wrestler.
Yeah.
From back to his grandfather, Blackjack Mulligan, his father, Mike Rotunda, uncles, Barry and Kendall Wyndham.
Man.
His brother, Bo Dallas.
I mean, that's on par with the Von Erichs. I mean, maybe even more than the Von. I mean, I'm trying to think of a greater wrestling family. I know there's so many out there, but man, that's got to be one of them up there for sure. Oh
man. Yeah.
But
you look at the star potential, and and they were all there. I still think that his character, that kind of cult leader character with Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman behind him. I mean, that could have been an all-time faction. That Wyatt family could have been an all-time faction with him having a multi-year title reign with those behemoths behind him. I mean,
absolutely. And why they never pulled the trigger on him, I have no clue. I mean, I know they did in certain instances, but why they never fully put the rocket on his back. I mean, he was, that's one thing. Just because our guy isn't winning all the time, or the guy you like isn't winning, doesn't mean they're not eating good. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to it, though, you like to see the guy you like have more success as far as a fan, and I would have loved to have seen them. I love that Waylon Mercy Cape Fear type gimmick.
Love it.
I love that Cape Fear movie. Robert Mitchum, De Niro. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. And, I know this, there's a hole to fill right now in wrestling. And honestly, what I would do, and I don't want to go too far on this. Like I said, we got a big show coming up with Ben Jordan, but I would maybe plug Bo Dallas in and just let him go at it, man.
Maybe do something with that Uncle Howdy character, if that was truly going to be him, and under all that, if they were truly, I think they say they had used him in that like suit, but if they were truly going to use him as that character, maybe flesh it out a little bit and have him do something. I think it'd be the ultimate thing if he's into it too. Maybe he's not into it. Maybe but a lot of times with wrestling, the show goes on. It's WWE did a masterful video for both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. I mean, Terry's kind of more brought a smile to my face just like seeing his career, and Bray's kind of teared me up thinking about gone too soon. Yeah, it absolutely is true. And whoever does those videos, a lot of times with WWE, does some masterful work with some music. Like they put these songs in there, and it's just like, wow. Whoever does that has got some talent at picking out songs to put with stuff. So,
and if they're ever hiring, holler at me.
Seriously, man,
that would be one of my dream jobs for sure. So,
but I mean, I've even seen like Impact and AEW and all, and even Powertown Wrestling had something. Bray Wyatt. I mean, like a lot of organizations had something out there for Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk, and it's good to see all that unity.
Absolutely is. Very cool. Very cool. And, we just say this from Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. We wish both the Funk family and the Rotunda family our best. And, condolences to you both. Thank you for what you gave to wrestling. Thank you for what you did for wrestling. And thank you for entertaining us. And, I mean, that's the long and short of it, honestly, is thank you for entertaining us,
Yeah, and, don't want to imagine being in either situation.
Right. It's the way it is, man. But, I know things have started off on a downer, obviously, but we want to bring it back to an upper because you said it earlier, just like things are, the show must go on. And we've got a big show ahead of us. And I think right now, to bring everyone out of it and bring them right back up, I think we need to get a Wild Boy on here. What do you say?
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Well, we'll be right back after these messages with the Wild Boy himself, Ben Jordan.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, stop by Captain's Corner, where you can get autographed photos, cards, magazines, and figures from all of your favorite wrestling superstars of the past, present, and future. You'll also be able to participate in live signings in the weeks and months to come. Make sure to stop by Captain's Corner on Facebook and give us a holler. Remember, cheers to the working man.
All right, we are back with more from the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. And as you've heard us talking about in the intro, and as you've seen all the pictures and promotional materials all over our social media sites, we've got the one and only Ben Jordan. What's up, Ben? How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. You, Jared, y'all doing okay?
Yeah, we're great.
Yeah, we're doing great, man.
We're having fun.
Good to talk to y'all. Glad y'all are having me on your show. It's really an honor.
Yes, we're having one of my favorite people on today, and I say that because I've said it before in the intro. I wanted to say it again, Ben. We didn't really get to know each other during my time in the business, but I've really gotten to know you since then, and I just appreciate you as a human being, not only a wrestler, but as a human being, Ben. You're a great dude, man.
Well, those words mean so much to me, and I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'm glad I got to know you, and I appreciate what you and Jared and even the Wolfie show, y'all bringing my time in wrestling back to life for me, because it seemed like, everything's done. I don't watch wrestling anymore. And all of a sudden I'm talking about the good old days.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that from y'all. I really do.
Hey, that's what we do it for, right, Jared? I mean, it's the whole name of the show, I mean, if we could, I could make myself happy watching old wrestling all day long, and I don't even have to watch the new stuff, and I still consider myself a very active wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Even though I don't really care much for the new stuff, I can go on YouTube and find all my old buddies and, watch them wrestle 10, 20, 30 years ago. So to me, it's a lot of fun, and that's the whole point of this show, and we've talked about it before, but we're going to get this thing going here. And Ben, we always start everything off with the question from the Sheik here.
All right, Ben. So my question that I think lets me get to know you, lets the audience get to know you a little bit. If you had your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers, people have influenced you or your favorites or whatever, if you give me like 4 or 5 names of who would be on your list.
Okay. I've really got 2 sets, because I had really like two different wrestling lives in my lifetime. And to go from being a kid and watching, I would have to say Jackie Fargo,
Okay. Yeah.
Bill Dundee,
Awesome stuff.
Eddie Gilbert, and Ric Flair.
That's my big time all time. And then I have to go to my local, my Tennessee wrestling roots, and the number one guy on that's got to be Tommy Higgins.
Oh yeah.
I love Tommy.
Man.
Without him, I mean, he's done so much for me in my career. And then you got to go with Gypsy Joe.
Yeah.
And then I heard the podcast today, Mr. George Weingroff talk about somebody smooth to work and just I don't know, just such a great wrestler.
Dangerous man too.
You don't get on his wrong side.
Yeah. It's so gentle of a killer. I'm just kidding, but he was one of those. So.
Everybody knew you don't piss George off. And, hey, I had some great matches with George, but yeah, I had to mention those in the local, independents in Tennessee.
I cut you off. Did you have one more? Or you said
I didn't. I got about 1 million more honorable mentions. You got Tim Ernesto, Joe Cagle, Jeff Daniels. You can just go down the line. You got Shane Morton, Rick Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee is so rich in talented wrestlers, and we all can't make it and be the big stars.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, if you lived in Tennessee back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you could go within 50 miles of your house any which way and find a good wrestling show.
Yeah, that is just a beautiful. I mean, it gives me chill bumps when you talk about it, because it's almost like the guys that made it, had they not been there, had they not been the ones to make it, you could have placed other guys right behind them. You know what I mean? It would have almost been like just right. It literally, I guess, was just right place, right time, and Yeah, it's crazy to talk about. And I mean, I do agree with you. The best description of the Middle Tennessee wrestling scene specifically, but that's the one I love so much. It was just absolute rich with talent. And that, we've gotten a lot of the guys on the show. We've got a lot more to come. But, today specifically, we had to have the wild boy himself, Ben Jordan. Now, we know you were a part of a famous tag team, the Wild Boys, Mr. Steve Neely. We're going to have you guys on together in the future. But today we're going to discuss Mr. Ben Jordan.
All right. Let's go.
You're ready. I love it. I like the confidence. It's nice. Okay, so let's go with this. Your younger days. Okay. Where were you born? Where did you go to high school? That kind of stuff.
I was born in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And I went to Cheatham County Central High School.
Nice. Okay. And in high school, did you play sports? Kind of, what would you say?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I played football, and I was a little bitty guy. But I was tough as nails, and I wanted to just keep getting bigger. I wanted to be that football player.
Yeah.
And funny thing, I got it up there, and the defensive backs coach was also the wrestling coach.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, Ben, I want you to come out for the team. We're going to put you in the 118s.
Okay.
I said, no, coach. I'm going to be a football player. I'm getting bigger. I'm at 125, And I kept going up. Every year he'd say, Ben, come out for the wrestling team. And I'm like, no, I want to be a football player. Looking back at it now, I think I should have took his advice and, did the wrestling thing.
I mean, you could get yourself, you could take care of yourself in the ring. I know that, but those extra elements that some of your buddies have and our friends have that may have done you well on down the line. But what did you play in football? I got to know, running back or linebacker or something like that?
By the time I got to high school, everybody was so much faster. So I ended up being a cornerback.
Oh, okay.
And, of course, I hit the weights really good. So my senior year, my coach decided he's going to make me a pulling guard. And I'm thinking, I'm the rover defensive corner. I'm a headhunter. I'm going to jack somebody up.
Yeah.
And he's going to make me an offensive guard. And I'm like, now I got to learn all the plays. I just wanted to just, go hit somebody, tackle, smear the man with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's having me learn blocking plays my senior year, and I'm going, I was going to have fun this year. But it was still fun, but I had to learn a lot, and I was like, dang, okay.
That's awesome.
What we did.
That's awesome.
So Ben, when did you actually start liking professional wrestling?
From the time I was a kid. I had a neighbor who lived across the street. Of course, I might have followed in his footsteps a little bit. He always liked to have a drink or two. Mm-hmm. And he would gather up all the kids and say, "Hey, come on, wrestling's on. Look, it's Jim Kent and the Bounty Hunters. It's the Moondogs. It's Jackie Fargo." And so we're like, "What is this stuff he's talking about?" We go in there, and we got mesmerized by it.
Yeah.
So we just from then on, always, And then as a kid, my grandmother lived in Nashville and run a beer joint, and it was close to the fairgrounds, and it was really right off Murfreesboro Road where they filmed the TV show that aired in Nashville at that time. I'm pretty sure it was Nick Goulis's show.
Okay,
and we would get free tickets to go down and be on the studio wrestling. So we're sitting there in the audience.
Wow.
We'd do that on Saturday mornings, and then Wednesday night, like take us to Grandma so we can go to the fairgrounds and watch it.
Yeah,
so
once you get that live wrestling bug, you got bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you couldn't shake it after you got it. And we did like everybody else. We built the rings in the yard and stuff, and of course learned how to run the ropes or work the ropes as a kid because we'd use garden hose nailed to a post. Yeah. And my buddy, you sling him in the ropes, and he'd hit it full force and break the rope.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, you got to act like you hit the rope,
right?
And then run back at me.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. So let me ask you a quick question on that, because now, who were some of the guys you remember watching live? When you would go watch the shows, who were some of the names? Easy, because I mentioned Jackie Fargo. Tommy Wildfire Rich was just getting started good. Okay. He was kind of seemed kind of tall and skinny to me at the time. I remember him. He was really getting going good. And of course, then you had Bill Dundee come in, and of course, this around the time you had to split between Goulis, Jarrett. So some of the guys stayed in Memphis area. Some of them come up to Nashville. It was a weird time, but Fargo stayed in Nashville. So kept him there. So, and then I remember they used to wrestle at the women's building at the fairgrounds. It's been long. It got tore down. But anyway, I remember going to the bathroom one Wednesday night, and it was the night they had Andre the Giant there. Holy cow! Wow, man.
They had to use a lowered ring because of the way the ceiling.
Yeah.
So they had to use a short ring. First time I've seen a short ring. And I go to the bathroom, so I got to get back out to watch Andre. I come walking out, and I turn and I look, and there's my head, the top of my head is at the bottom of his trunks.
Oh, my God.
I look over, and it's like, oh, my God, I really didn't know what a giant looked like.
Right, right.
I got to see one up real close.
That's amazing.
Real close.
Yeah.
I run on, got my feet. So.
Hello, man. Anyway, so okay, so talking about this real quick. So you said you're doing some stuff with your buddies in the backyard, and what leads you and gets you to training with the superstar, one of the greatest Memphis legends or wrestling legends ever, Mr. Bill Dundee? What led you to getting to that point? Well, okay. So we would always pack up, the buddy that we did the wrestling in the yard with, we'd always pack up. I mean, we'd pack up in a pickup truck, have that like six, used to those bench seats, you could put about 6, 8 people on the front seat, a pickup truck. Yeah. And we'd pack it in, and we would go to the fairgrounds on Wednesday and watch it. So watch it. High school come along, we get driver's license. I'm like asking all the buddies, who wants to go to the fairgrounds? I've got my license. And, either we'd pack a car full or it'd be me by myself. I wasn't going to miss it. Yeah, so amen. I was always at the fairground watching. But to me, these were like movie stars. They were untouchable. You couldn't get to this guy. Superheroes. So, so I didn't really even think. I thought one day, I want to do that. But, I want to be Richard Petty also. I want to drive a race car. You get all these big dreams. Of course. Well, so I went on through high school, decided school ain't for me. So I joined the Marines, did my 4 years of Marines. Of course, kept the weights up, And while I was in, my mom and dad would send me tapes of Memphis, Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler, all those guys. And, of course, Bruno was on. He was one of the favorites with the guys, all the guys on my crew. Yeah. They would send those tapes. And when I first sent them, they're like, what is this crap? What is this? And it's like watching a soap opera. By the time I left North Carolina, they were like, when you get home, send us some more tapes. Because they got into the storyline, what I was going on in Nashville, Memphis. And
So they run an ad on TV for the wrestling school. Mm-hmm. And I sent in a picture of, me flexing up, at 160 pounds. And, so I sent them that, and I thought, well, they'll call me back. They never call.
Yeah.
So I get out, and I go to the fairgrounds. I'm watching. Finally, they run that again. Well, I left my number. Well, lo and behold, one day the phone rings. We had the old phone on the wall. Phone rings, and my brother goes, "Hey, Ben, come in here. Bill Dundee's on the phone for you." And I'm like, "What? Me?" So I run in there, grab the phone. "Ben Gordon, this is Bill Dundee. You want to train to wrestle?" And I said, "Meet me in Gallatin at the gym at 6:00 tomorrow night." I get there, and of course he shoots my dreams, and he's like, "You're too little." He's like, "I'm 205 pounds. I'm 5'7". We're both the same height." He said, "You got to be at least 200 pounds." So I left for 2 years, which I'd go to the fairground. I kept lifting, started powerlifting, getting a little bigger, just staying in good shape. And then finally, Bill looks at me one night at the fairgrounds, and we've been talking, and I had met Jamie and his friend Ronnie. They were the Rock and Roll Dream Team. And I was hanging out with them a little bit. And then Bill's finally like, "Hey, you need to go to school." I'm like, "Well, I'm not big enough yet." And Bill goes, "Oh, yeah, you look big enough." And then he told me the deal about the image. You're up there, the light shining on you. You're going to look 220.
Right. Right. Hold on real quick. I don't want to stop you. That Rock and Roll Dream Team, was that a real team, or was that just a talk?
That was Jamie Dundee and Ronnie Travis.
And did they just talk like they were a team, or were they a real tag team?
No, they were tagging. I went to Elton, Kentucky, and watched them in a show, sold their pictures at the gimmick table. I think I told this on a Wolfie show, but
it's a great story.
They sold $200 to $400 worth of pictures. They sold every picture they had before they ever got in the ring.
That's amazing.
I was bigger than these guys.
Yeah.
And people were asking me, was I a wrestler? And then that starts giving you the bug.
Oh, and, totally.
And then they had rented a limousine and took a limousine, a full stretch limousine from Nashville to right down in Alabama, Athens, Alabama, to wrestle. And I followed them. Me and my buddy followed them because we're going to go watch them wrestle. And they carried that stretch limousine all the way to Athens, Alabama, and wrestle. Wow. Go, boys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's Jay. Now, okay, you're seen by Bill. He's like, "You're going to be fine. Let's handle this." But you did say something about, and I don't want to skip over this because, first of all, thank you for your service in the military. Talk a little bit about your time in the military.
Well, of course, I joined up a delayed entry, go for a year early. I sign up, you wait a year, then you go. Well, in the meantime, my brother and my friend decide they're going to join too. Well, I'm like, wait a minute, this is my gig. I want to leave everybody and get away. Well, I get in there to sign up a year early at 17. My parents wanted me to have a guaranteed job. So I signed this thing to be something in aircraft. Well, my brother, he joins in, and he ended up doing what I want to do. He becomes a grunt. He's carrying an M16. He's, going all over the world being a grunt. And I want to be a grunt Marine, a badass. And here I am. And I did the thing that I bet nobody even knows it happens is I stopped jets with a cable like they do on aircraft carrier on expeditionary runways.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay,
I never saw this before in my life. But you can't do this in the civilian world. So somebody's for on-the-job training.
Right. There's nothing. There's nothing there there airplanes. You don't go to an airport and do that job. Exactly.
No, you don't stop jets at the airport. You get a long enough run where they just roll through. They don't have tail hooks.
Right.
I stopped jets for 4 years in the Marines. I loved it. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. I had a great bunch of guys I worked with and wouldn't trade it. But my brother lived my dream of a Marine, and I lived the stopping jets, which I guess was cool in a way too. So
I mean, there's a cool element to that for sure, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't want to skip over that because that's an important part for you, and it's a very important part. I think we love the troops. We're big time supporters of the troops, and for sure we didn't want to skip over that because that's an important part of your life. So telling your story we would be missing out a part there. Well, anyway, you got to Bill Dundee. He says, I think you can do something, kid. You know, you're looking big enough. Let's put you in the ring. Now, talk about the training as far as that goes.
Well, we were going to start out training in Gallatin. Jamie took me up to the ring in Gallatin where they had a ring. And it was the stiffest ring I ever felt. It had like a spring in the middle, but the spring had gotten like caught on the side. So it didn't. You hit in the middle, it was like dead stop. So went up there trained, and then the next time I go, they're like, we're moving to Franklin, Kentucky. Well, and this crisscrosses. When I say this crisscrosses somebody else's storyline.
Okay.
And I end up in Franklin, Kentucky, and so we're in this one building in Franklin. And the first day I'm there, Bill's on his way. I meet a man by the name of Mike Porter. Okay? Yeah. And he's like, they just loving being Jordan. Hey, you're a good-looking kid. You're gonna do some things this business. Thank you, sir. And he introduced me to Bruce Swayze.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know Bruce Swayze, but he was known as the Silver Fox.
Yeah.
He's actually the man that introduced me to Ric Flair.
Oh, okay.
So I'm up there the first day. I'm fired up. I'm going. But the man that had moved to town from Texas was Bill Crockett. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was under a mask back in the days as the Golden Eagle, and I could be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, he had a daughter that went to school that met another young man that ended up in professional wrestling, and that happened later. We went up there and started training. Blah blah blah. I'm training once every Sunday. I'm training with Bill, but during the week I trained with Bill Crockett's son, and we'd train all week, train 2 days a week. And then Bill would show up on Sunday, and that's when we get the real training, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was all fun and good, but I wasn't getting it. I could do arm bars and hip tosses and stuff. I didn't get the storyline. I didn't know what was going on. I was blind to this stuff. Plus, that's where the amateur background comes in.
Sure.
Everything ends up back in a hold. You know, you do the razzle dazzle, the hit the ropes, the flip, then you go back to the arm or the leg, whatever you're doing. That's where amateur background comes in. Well, I get with Ronnie Travis one day, and this goes back to one of Wolfie's stories. The old barn and the ring, Candy Divine, the one that Wolfie trained in.
Right.
Ronnie took me to that ring one day, and I said, tell me what's going on. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the big picture. He gets me in there in that old smelly ring. It was in an old garage, what it was at the time. So it was about rotted down. The floor was about. But Ronnie walked me through how a match goes from start to finish, and how, like, culling it in the ring, and how easy it was, and how it all falls back to all the moves and holds I was learning.
Yeah,
and
putting it together.
I appreciate. Finally, the story. I'm getting the picture now. I can see. And so he taught me that in that old ring up there. And then I'll get back at school, and it's like, oh, I'm a whole new student now because I know what's going on.
Right. So that was one of those light bulb moments, right? Where you?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I get it now.
You know what's crazy? Yeah, Ben, I get those all the time during these interviews. Y'all describe this stuff so well that I've had light bulbs go off during interviews. 100+ episodes with Wolfie, 40+ with my brother. I mean, it's crazy how many interviews that I've done that I've like, holy crap. That finally makes sense. My back won't let me do anything in wrestling anymore, but it finally makes sense, like, golly, that's amazing. It took me 20 years to figure it out, but I got it now. But anyway.
So, Ben, what was your, tell us about your first match and, like, what promotion that was with and everything.
Okay, that would have been with Dale Mann up in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That tied into the wrestling school because on Sundays, we'd get done training. We'd go over to the Crockett's house, take showers, whatever, change clothes, and head up to the matches at the fairgrounds in Bowling Green. Well, as Mr. Crockett always told us, old Bill, always carry your boots, carry your gear.
Yeah.
And so, one day we're up there, and Dale Mann says, you got your gear with you? And, yes, sir. So he goes, you're in the first match tonight. I'm like, oh, my God. My heart about beat out of my chest. I was so nervous. I was outside gagging, guy heaving because I'm so nervous. I'm like, I'm not ready. But my first match was with a guy called the Wolfman.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where he is today, but he led me through a match and made me look like $1 million. And I just used my name, Ben Jordan. It's like, because everybody always asks, well, what's your real name? It's Ben Jordan. But when I got up in the crowd got with me. And then week after week, the crowd was with me. I'm like, why change your name?
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely no need to do it at that point. No relation to Wolfie D, right?
No relation. Old guy had a beard down, looked like the Duck Dynasty guys, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Moondog-ish a little bit.
yeah, but he was a little bitty skinny guy. But he'd get up in the corner and he'd just howl. He'd make that, just howl like a wolf. But great guy to work with. Had an excellent match, first match.
That's awesome. The Wolf Man. I bet that's just one you'll never forget. It's not just somebody's name, like Joe Johnson or something like that. Yeah, this is the Wolf Man. You'll never forget that. So
never forget it.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. Now, obviously, you have I got so fired up when we did the interview on the Wolfie Show, Ben. I got so fired up when I looked at your career online, because I would say, if you compared it, you are absolutely one of those guys that are just a true journeyman carpenter. I mean, whatever, man. But your career is just something to marvel at. It's a heck of a resume, brother. It's on par with all the big ones. So we're going to start out with this. Now, everybody starts in their local shows and areas and stuff. But what eventually got you to probably what you would consider at the time the be-all, end-all of the USWA? What led you to the USWA?
Okay. So we did we were doing Bowling Green on Sundays. Okay. I get injured. I'm out for a few months. Okay. And this will go back a little bit, but it comes back around.
Go ahead.
So I'm injured. Well, I come back to the wrestling school. There's this little blonde kid there. And he's doing all of these moves with this foam rubber mat, this rolled up foam rubber. He can do everything. And I'm like, wow, this kid's good.
Yeah.
So then we get to work out together. Can you guess who it is?
I'm going to guess Chris Michaels.
Exactly. I just sent you a picture of us the other day. I didn't know if you'd get who that was.
Yeah, it's a great photo.
But he was there. And of course, he got some training by, Tracy and all these other guys. He got so much input from different guys. But I think when I first got there, he was just about self-trained.
Yeah.
That daggum foam rubber mat.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
He's the first person that gave me the Hurricane Rana, which, we called the Frankenstein or whatever. And he's the first person to ever do that to me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And so anyway, so he's there. We get some of these matches. Well, I'm at the fairgrounds and Bill's like, Bill Dundee's there and I'm there. And he goes, Ben, come here. I want you to meet the booker. All right, so I go in there, and it's Dutch Mantell, one of my idols from a kid, also. I almost got to meet him.
Yeah.
And Dutch goes, kid, you want to be on TV? I said, yes, sir. And he goes, well, go get me a cup of coffee. I said, yes, sir. So I went and got him a cup of coffee. And he goes, can you go to Memphis in the morning? And or maybe it was the next week. He's like, could you go to Memphis? You got a way to get there? And I'm like, yes, sir. Said, you got your own car? I said, yes, sir. So he goes, well, meet me at this exit, pick me up at this time, and we will go to Memphis. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I can't wait. And I love Dutch. I get there, I meet him at the Cracker Barrel. I meet him, we get in the car, and I'm thinking, I'm going to ride all the way to Memphis for Dutch Mantell. Oh, my God, am I going to ask him some questions? And we get in the car, we get on the interstate. He tells me which way to go, which I kind of knew. Everything. Yeah. He goes, does this chair recline? And I said, yeah, it's right over on the side. Just grab it. So he reclines back. Next thing I know, Dutch Mantell's snoring in my car. all the way to Memphis. All the way to Memphis.
Not one question, other than answering the answer of does this chair recline, not one question was asked.
Not one question. No. He might would raise up everything and goes, what mile mark are we at, And I'd tell him, and I'm like thinking, is he going to wake up now? We're going to talk. Am I going to get something out? But no, he got me down there and put me on the TV. And I'm not proud of my first match on TV because I messed up. right on TV. So
gotcha.
Don't look that way. I got down there, and first match wasn't so good, but I kept coming back, and they put me in there, and they put me in with Tony Anthony. And that's when Bill grabbed Tony Anthony, and he pulls us in there where Dave Brown's weatherboard is, and then in the little dark and everything. And he goes, Tony, he said, I trained Ben. He's a good kid. He goes, listen, he said, but you got to remember, you need to make him before you break him. And Tony Anthony said, I got you, Bill. He went out there, and of course, we didn't go that long, but he done one of them. He told me, he said, go for a hip toss. I'll block it. Do a backflip. Land on your feet and hip toss. I said, I can't do that. He said, just do it. And of course, I didn't know he was going to help me as much as he did, but we did it, and I hip tossed him. And hey, from there, I was getting better and better matches, and it got to where if I just showed up and I wasn't booked, they would take somebody else off the card and put me in.
Wow. Well, now let me speak on this because and I'm not trying to knock anybody, nobody whatsoever, but I've heard Wolfie tell me several times that some of the Memphis guys were not you had to make them do stuff sometimes, some of the enhancement guys. So I would imagine if you're one of those undercard, you're putting guys over, and I know you and how you're working, I would imagine that makes sense that they would slot you in the spot instead of somebody else,
Yeah. And another thing, what would happen, the good thing was when they bought up the Dallas territory.
Yeah.
And they were sending guys down there, and it was an hour and a half show on Memphis Live TV. Okay. I was like one of the only regular guys left up in Memphis.
Yeah, okay,
so
gotcha.
They would, and I've funny story about that too. They would put me in there with some of the other enhancement / job guys.
Okay, so
they would put me over the other guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I just watched the match the other day. I think it was me and Keith Erickson. I think it was about a 6 or 7 minute match, and I was green. You could tell I was green. I just kept going back to the armbar the whole match until I pinned him.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he didn't, I'm used to the heel telling the story, kind of leading it on. I was so green as a baby, used to listening, and I'm having to kind of lead this. I didn't know how to get the storyline down. I didn't know how to tell a story at the time.
Right.
And so I just kept going back to what I needed. I did arm dragging back to the arm bar until he finally bent himself and not done a move and pinned him. That was for like 6 or 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God. But that was the first, and I think that might have been the first match I went over on TV. And when they would give the undercard guys, the guys that putting people over, they'd give you $25.
Yeah, okay.
The rest of the guys didn't get paid for TV.
Didn't get paid because
you're getting promoted
for Monday.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, you're on on the up and up. So you're getting pushed. So
right.
Well,
which blew my mind when I learned that, by the way, that some of these guys didn't get paid. And that's why I think Mike Porter must have thought we were on TV when I worked for Porter in Nashville. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I went to Eddie Marlin and I said, I need to get my money. And he looks at me and goes, Ben, when you go over on TV, you don't get money. And I'm thinking, I wanted that $25.
More than the Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'll go back to getting beat. I need my $25.
Oh man,
pin me and pay me, right?
yeah. I got used to that. So
I was counting on that 25, man. Come on.
I got another kind of serious, but kind of funny but serious story about TV. They put me in one time with a guy named Rob Golden. Never met him before in my life, and good guy from Talking to him. But we went out there, and I was going to go over. But I'm out there, and everything I'm doing, I'm having to muscle him around. I'm having to move him myself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm getting a little agitated because every time I go to lift him, I'm having to just put everything I got into moving him around. He wasn't going with me too much. And at the time, I'd been taking some Taekwondo. I was going to learn some fancy kicks and stuff for my little short legs,
Yeah.
And I shot him in for I was going to do a drop kick, and I throwed my front leg forward like in Taekwondo, and I knocked him out cold.
Oh.
Okay, now I'm thinking I'm scared to death. I reached down to grab him, and this is when his head just rolled out of my hand. And I grabbed him up by the short hair on the back of his neck and like, get up, because I've been having to muscle hump him the whole time anyway.
Right.
We call it muscle. I had to, and I'm like, get up. Well, he wasn't no getting up. He was out cold.
Yeah.
Well, what do? I just fall on him and pin him. 1, 2, 3. This is how green I was. All right. They had 2 more minutes of TV time. I could have had the number 1 finger up, looking in the camera. Ben Jordan's number 1.
Right.
What do? I jump out of the ring, get my hand raised, and run to the back. I didn't get my glory,
Right.
I was too green. I was too green for that.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So that was. I thought I was going to be in big trouble, but it turned out all right. Yeah, but I've never seen the guy again.
Yeah.
And I hope he's fine. I hope he don't hold nothing against me.
You knocked
might not
him out.
remember it.
You knocked him out and out of the business, actually. So, yeah.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar. Zero patience for slow walkers. Those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night. Have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Tell us about another TV time, your angle with Lawler.
Okay, Lawler, it was weird because like the championship time, that was weird because that was leading into Handsome Jimmy. The other time, all right, Jerry was fixing to go into an angle with Chris Champion. Well, just so happened that day, Kerry Von Erich was at the studio. That's when they were doing the Dallas thing, but everybody was up here. And the funny thing, too, I don't know if Jerry Lawler ever knew. Somebody probably had to tell him or told it about it later, but this whole thing was planned up that Kerry was going to dump this bucket of water on Jerry.
Yeah.
It was going to be the gift from Handsome Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah.
Well, Kerry goes, I'm going down the store to get 2 bags of water. I think this is in the middle of January or February.
Okay.
It's cold outside.
Yeah.
Well, Kerry is going to pull the rib. He ices the water down. 2 bags of ice, and he ices that water down. Well, Lawler does the thing. He's on the phone trying to call Valiant, whatever. Kerry comes out and says, "Here's your present from Handsome Jimmy," and he throws the water on him. Of course, well, who's lined up to wrestle Jerry Lawler right after that? None other than me. So, of course, he waxes the floor with me, and then Chris comes out to save me, and he beats us both up there on TV, and so that was one of the times. And then I don't know, something always pisses Jerry off right before he whips my ass.
What's the deal, man? Yeah.
I wouldn't trade none of it for the world. I mean, did I ever think I would be in the ring, even in the ring with Jerry Lawler?
Right. Not at that point. You didn't. Yeah.
No. And so I was glad getting my ass whipped. Hell,
sure.
Who else is getting their ass whipped by Jerry Lawler?
Right. If you got the best one doing it, why not? There's only one going to win that one for sure. So there was guys like I said, the Soul Taker, Mike Awesome, Don Bass, Brian Lee, all these guys there. But talk about some of those guys. Of course, Chris Champion.
Oh my God! Of course, me and Chris rode back and forth quite a lot. And matter of fact, he started sewing on his Ninja Turtle outfit. I remember when he showed me at the beginnings of it, saying, "Hey, look, this is what I'm going to do," and he was actually sewing part of his Ninja Turtle outfit while we were going back and forth to Memphis.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've told me that through text message, and I wanted you to say that. Yeah. I'm so happy you did, because that, to me, that's funny that, and he was the first guy to actually do the Ninja Turtle gimmick. They went on to do it in WWF, and I'm sure it's been other places, but, Chris was the OG on that one for sure. So,
hey, even on TV, he comes out and saves me from Jeff Gaylord in downtown Bruno.
Yeah. Of
course, he's like, why do you do that to Ben Jordy? With his turtle voice.
Right.
I'm in on the turtle gimmick now.
Yeah, I'm in on the turtle gimmick.
But you got Soul Taker. Now, what would happen a lot of times is guys would come in and do Saturday morning TV and it would be lined up for Memphis. Well, the show in Nashville wouldn't be till 2 weeks later. So a lot of times guys would just need to work Saturday night at the fairgrounds, and so I would get the new guy coming in.
Okay.
I was like the guy that always got to work with the new guy. And so Soul Taker was one of them, It's like he's big. And what Eddie Marlin told me, he said, "Ben, all I want you to do is just run from him and then let him get a hold of you and finish you.
Yeah.
Don't try to do nothing. Just run from him as long as you can, and then he's going to finish it. He's going to do whatever is finished and finish." And he did. And they done that also with Inhumans.
Yeah. Yeah.
He come in. I like I said, I'd always get there first night because they wasn't really in an angle yet.
Right.
That TV hadn't showed on Nashville yet.
Right.
So there was always the new guy. Same thing with Chris Candido.
Yeah.
But I actually got to go over with Chris, and I'm like looking back at it like that should have been the other way around.
How did that work? But who knows, right?
It was pretty wild because I think we were actually doing a baby type match, and one of us called an arm drag, and we both went for the arm drag. It was almost like a double knockout because we both grabbed each other's arm and both went backwards.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. Now, you've wrestled so many guys so far. The story, the Godfather, aka Soul Taker, whatever you want to call it. Kama, Mustafa, whatever. But, guys like that, you've already working them. But in 1991, if I'm not mistaken, you get a call from a Hot Stuff himself, and you get to go to possibly one of the, I would assume one of the major highlights of your whole career of getting to work in global wrestling. Talk about that. Because we loved Global growing up. Jared and I watched a lot of Global. So, yeah.
See, and that wasn't even around when I started. And nobody knew anything about that.
Right.
And so that was, besides, me, I was wanting to go to Memphis, Nashville. That was that's success for me. That's far enough. But,
and let me say this real quick, Ben. Because Global was basically the offshoot of World Class, because USWA and World Class combined, and they were doing Memphis and Dallas. Well, then they all move it all up to Memphis. So then World Class is no more. So Global comes out of the ashes of World Class, essentially. They're in Dallas, and it's basically, and everybody that's listening knows about Global. I'm just giving somebody somebody some perspective on this, that basically this was a big deal. And like you said, it didn't exist when you started. I'm sorry.
No, so it's all extra. And Barry Horowitz, which I'm good friends with, he's going down. Tom Burton's going down, and they're like, Ben, you need to, come down to. And me, I'm like, I'm not calling them. If somebody wants me, if they'll call, I'll go. Whatever.
Sure.
Not that I didn't think I was. I was just thinking I'm limited to a certain amount, and I've got a job. I actually told that to Tom one day going down. I'm like, because he was telling me what I was and what I'm going to do, and I said, look, you need this for a living. I don't. I said, I don't have to go down there and listen to nobody. So, I'll do. But anyway, we went down there and worked, and I get a call from Eddie Gilbert, which Eddie, I don't know if he was actually booking first when we first went down there. I was doing some matches. But then Eddie got in on the book, and when he took the book and things changed, they dropped our money. And when they dropped the money, I'm like, okay, you're going to drop me down to $75. It's 620 miles to Dallas. I can stop in Memphis, get 25, go 2 more times and get 75. Why don't I just go to Memphis and get 25 and go back home?
Right.
So I said, I'll see y'all. I'm not coming back. Well, that's when Barry Horowitz calls me, Doug Gilbert calls me. Everybody told me, they said, man, they're going to put the strap on you. The junior strap, not the team strap. But, so everybody's like, you got to go down there. You got to go. This is magazine coverage. This is this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, I don't have to go. For 75, I don't got to go.
Right.
So I finally got the call, and they said they'd give me the money that I was getting. And I'm like, okay, I'll come back.
Yeah.
But
now I can come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was selling me on that belt, and which really, in the long run, that belt did mean a lot. And it goes a lot further than what little bit of money I was getting.
Right.
But you don't realize that at the time. I'm thinking about, I need to make money.
Right. No, money is important. But, Jared, listen to these guys. Lightning Kid Sean Waltman, Jerry Lynn, Barry Horowitz, Doug Gilbert, Eddie Gilbert. Everybody. Think about all those names. Those are Hall of Fame names right there.
Masters in their craft, man.
And that is what... Yeah, that's what I think sets that global light heavyweight division apart. You had all the other guys, the Ahmed Johnsons, all the other guys that were in the global for however long it lasted. But when it comes down to it, I think the true jewel of global was that light heavyweight division. And Brother Ben here won the light heavyweight title in 1992, February 21st of 1992 to be exact. And he won it from the man himself, Barry Horowitz.
Just to have your name in line with those guys you just read off. For my name to be anywhere in them, because I'm the least of all of them. But you know what they say about the least of all of us is best as the top. You're in there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
There's nothing like that. So during that time of global, you got to go to other places, and one of the places I'm gonna let Jared talk about right now.
All right.
So Ben, tell us about working the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
Legion of Doom, which, I'd watched them, but I'd said this before on Wolfie's show that I wasn't really into WWF, so I wasn't into, and Wolfie knows the name of their finishing move. I still don't even know the name of the finishing move, and I just listened to it again today. But I wasn't into WWF. I liked the style coming out of WCW, Memphis.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like two regular or beefed up kind of guys got mad at each other because one of them said something about the other one's mama, and they were two guys fixing to fight each other. I wasn't in. And y'all probably grew up with the Hulk Hogan thing, and now I know what them guys meant. But back in this time, I wasn't a big fan of all that.
Yeah,
so Reno Riggins is the one that organized a bunch of us guys from Tennessee coming up.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you, WWF at the time, they loved the Tennessee guys because you know what? We knew how to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would put us in the match. Well, so I get up there, and Tony Gurria is looking for guys, and I guess it helps that I'm a little bit shorter, so it made good to be the guy put up on the shoulders, and my legs wouldn't hit so much before I flipped over.
Right.
So so I get picked to do that match, me and Horowitz, and I didn't even know what the finish was, and like I said before, my dumb ass just said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Then I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? What's going to happen to me? And I'm going to tell you, that was the biggest crowd I've been in front of. And we said it before too. It's like when they said play that over the loudspeaker. Ooh, what a rush! And then you see these two big behemoths, with these big shoulder pads coming out, and they're not looking too nice anyway. And I know we're in the wrestling business, but still, you're in front of all these people. You never know, and you get a little bit of cold chills as they're coming down. And I'm like, okay, this can go really good or it can go really bad. So everything went good. Must have took a heck of a bump off the shoulders because when I get back through the curtain, Shawn Michaels is the first person that meets me, and he's like, "Man, are you okay? It looked like they just killed you." And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And, hey, I just got to talk to Shawn Michaels, He asked how I'm doing, so I'm good.
That's pretty good, man.
My son loves to do the doomsday device to his sister off my shoulders when we're in the pool. So
I got you. The doomsday device. Maybe I'll learn that someday.
Yeah,
maybe. Maybe you've got a permanent block in your brain where you took it one time. You don't remember.
That may be the problem.
Do you remember, like, did Animal like push you up, or did you just?
Yeah, he did. But which I got real nervous before the match, and so I finally kind of went up to him and asked him. I said, "How does this work?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it, man." He goes, When he hits you with the car, he said, "You'll flip." He said, "But I'll throw your ankles back. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, good." And I'm like, at that point, and then somebody had to tell me, he's going to sit you on top of his shoulder. I'm like, "Oh, is that what they're going to? Oh, that's what they're going to do. Okay."
It's coming together now.
I just went with it. So I wanted to be, I was on WWF. I was going to be on TV,
Yeah.
So.
You take probably the best tag team finishing move of all time, too. So.
Yeah, legendary.
Hey, they were the world tag team champions. So hey,
yeah.
another one of them things. Like my storied career, I'm nobody famous, but I've been there with all of them, and it was fun. It was really fun.
Well, then with the world tag titles might have been the time to try a little taekwondo on them big boys,
Hey, if I'd have thought it'd work, but it's probably like, well, if it don't work, it's not going to be too good.
It's going to be ugly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're just 1 for 1 on that. I figured maybe you could slip over for the tag straps with Byrd there. Yeah.
That'd have probably just swatted me off like a fly and said, "Uh-oh, now you did it, boy."
That is my fault, sir. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we grew up big time WCW kids. We were NWA Jim Crockett Mid-Atlantic kids. I've told this a million times on all my podcasts. Dusty Rhodes to us was as big as Hulk Hogan, even though we liked the Hogans and the Andres and those guys, of course. They were the cartoon characters to us.
Yeah.
Whereas the wrestlers on TV were like the working men, like the guys that had dirt under their fingernails and fought and drank beer and,
WWF seemed like a work. And NWA stuff like it seemed like a shoot. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, look at the Four Horsemen, man. That's when people really started to love kind of the bad guy,
right?
Because they had all that. They had the class and the brass,
Oh yeah.
And, that everybody wanted to be Ric Flair, or if you were the buddy that hung out with Flair, you wanted to be Arn Anderson,
Right, exactly.
So
be glad to be Arn.
I got that when I was in North Carolina at Cherry Point in the Marines. We had to watch that too, TBS.
Oh yeah.
And then that really got me. I was like, this goes right along with what I was seeing from Memphis. I love this too.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. Right. It's so good. Well, okay. So we've kind of been going through 1991. It's a massive year for you. And then 92, very early on, 92 becomes a very big year. Now, after you drop the strap, the light title, you end up going to Smoky Mountain. Now, what went on between the Global time and Smoky Mountain?
Probably can't remember that stretch. But anyway, the global stuff dropped off. And then I get a call, and I've got it on one of my mini tapes where Jim Cornette calls the house, and I call him back. And my deal is I know how to work. I knew how to work.
Yeah.
I don't mind putting anybody over. This is wrestling. Steve Kern says it best. They're paying you. The world is, what it is in wrestling. If they pay me to put the guy over, I'm putting the guy over. I'm going to do my best to make him look as good as I can. And so my deal is if I'm going to work for you, I don't want to just get squashed. I can do some stuff before you pin me. And what I told Jim Cornette, I said, Jim, I don't mind coming up there, to put guys over. I said, but I want to work.
Yeah.
And he said, come up, we'll let you work. He said, we're going to put, now the one match I did with Tony Anthony up there, they were putting him over strong, and I didn't get a lot in that, but I'd worked Tony so many times for USWA, I'd do anything for Tony.
Right.
So if they needed him over strong, they just shit out of me. I don't care. Let's get you over.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not making me look bad,
Right. But White Boy was the bad guy of our childhood, by the way. We've seen him wrestle live. I mean, we love Tony Anthony. We're big fans, for sure.
We probably booed him a lot, though.
Yeah.
I wish I could talk to him today. But I don't do social media. I got no way to get in touch with people. It's rare when I do get in touch with people. Shane Morton's my connection to the world, I guess.
He's our connection to most wrestlers. So
yeah,
we're big Shane Morton fans. So
that's how we got in touch. So
exactly,
Shane is great for that.
Shane is perfect. Yeah.
But to go back to the work and not to backtrack so much, but WWF and see now, they loved the Tennessee guys because they knew how to work. Most of us were well trained, knew how to work. And like when I would go up there and work Bam Bam Bigelow, after I worked him the first time, every time I would be up there, he would grab me and say, "When was the last time we did TV?" I said, "Well, 3 weeks ago." He goes, "Let's get them to put your name up here. I want to work with you again."
That's awesome.
People like that, they come to, and I remember watching Bam Bam Bigelow come to Memphis. They were watching his tapes, and I was scared to death of the guy.
Yeah.
And then this one of the guys that treated me so good and wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
And he actually, in one of his matches, and this is when they're still coming out of the corner, he's like, "I'm going to job you out the whole match. It's going to look like a squash." He said, "I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to come off of my finish, the headbutt." Mm-hmm. He said, "Move and fire up on me."
Wow.
When he went up to do the headbutt off the top rope, all the kids had done run down to the fence, to the railing.
Right.
They knew the match was over.
Yeah, it was done.
And I fired up on blah, blah. And then he was trying a new move. It didn't come out looking as good as it should have. But he wanted to do he slingshot himself over the rope to do a splash on me for the finish. And it wasn't real pretty because it just wasn't pretty. But anyway, I was happy. And he was happy anyway. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And man, could he move for a big guy?
For a big guy, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For a little guy, he could move. You know what I mean? And he was a big guy. There's little guys without that footwork. I know a 5'5" guy that you got. Yeah, man. Yeah, seriously, absolutely. What about Bob Holly? Did you work Bob Holly?
I did. Okay. Bob Holly was great. I love Bob Holly, but he come off the top rope for the finish with a knee to my chest, and I thought I didn't know if I was ever going to breathe again.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I've heard that.
And it knocked the wind out of me so bad. I don't know. For the next 10 minutes, I didn't know what was going on. But he pinned me after that, thank God. Yeah. I couldn't have got up.
Was he now, he was an Alabama guy. Had you met him before working him in Smoky Mountain at all?
I never had met him before. And then, at Smoky Mountain. And like I said, we worked, had a decent match and all. Besides crushing my chest in, which you think I'm going to say something to Bob Holly about crushing my chest in?
Right. Probably not. Yeah.
I've had my share of fights, and I've done pretty good, but there's some people you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, you've done pretty good because you know who not to mess with, right? I mean,
you got to pick and choose.
Right.
And now a word from our sponsor.
With the Walmart app, you can squeeze in those final days of summer and nail that back-to-school shopping list. So keep working on that tan and let Walmart Express Delivery handle the rest. Chromebooks, Clorox wipes, Sharpies, glue sticks, pens, pencils, and more. All delivered in as fast as an hour. So pour yourself another iced tea. Summer's not over. Last-minute back-to-school supplies delivered fast. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new. Subject to availability. Fees and restrictions apply.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft, pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
Hey, my name is Tammy Reynolds. I am the wife of Forsaken Rick Reynolds, that super cool guy that everybody knows and loves. And I represent West Side Sauces. I make sauces, I bottle them, I seal them, I sell them. I have a hot honey sauce, I have a sweet sauce, I have a hot sauce, I have a white sauce that's so yummy you can use it on everything. They are absolutely amazing and I'm so proud of them. We make them from scratch. So go on our website, westsidesauces.com, check out our products, read about our story, and go online and order you some of these yummy sauces. And Rick actually uses all of the sauces because he is a die-hard smoker and griller, and so he likes really good sauces and rubs, and I make them, so how convenient is that for him? Go on our website, westsidesauces.com, order you some samples, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy them. Thank you guys. Be blessed.
What about working with Paul Orndorff?
Paul Orndorff was great. The only thing that I regret about my match with Paul Orndorff, and Gary Valiant done it beautiful. Paul is like, I'm going to backdrop you. I'm going to spin around and catch you on the way down and finish you slamming you down while you're in the air.
Mm.
Well, me, I flip over too quick. I just flipped over and landed. And I could see you turn around, it's like, oh, he's already on the ground.
Yeah, oh, man.
Other than that, he was a great guy. We'd find little places to work out at in the little buildings we were at. Scott Armstrong and Paul Orndorff, we'd all be in the little weight room, working out. It was some fun times up at Smoky Mountain.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, of course, it leads you back to WWF as you were talking about Bam Bam earlier there. And was Reno still your connection for the WWF?
Reno had took a bunch of us up there. Freddie Morton, we were all working for Freddie Morton in the Independence. And Freddie had a car deal. I think we took about 3 Cadillacs full of guys. Joe Cagle. I love Joe Cagle. It was me, Freddie, Joe Cagle, Reno, Major Yates, some more guys.
Yeah.
I can't remember them all. I wish I could. And we traveled up in cars. And, Reno had made a deal with them, whatever, and got us up there. Well, after that was the first run. That was the Road Warrior, and I worked the Berserker on that run. And then after that, they got to fly. They picked a few of us, and they started flying us up. Yeah. And that's when I got to traveling with Barry Horowitz. Because Barry just lived 10 miles from me, and I'd pick him up, and we'd go to the airport together, and we'd use a room together. I did the room with Reno or Barry, and those are 2 great guys to travel with.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure. Yeah.
I learned a lot from Barry. And Barry, I think I mentioned it to you. I had a story about Barry, but about the texting him and calling, the way that works.
Yeah, I do. Right.
Barry, I learned a lot from Barry. Barry is, what do you say? He's really structured, organized, scheduled.
Sure, and that makes sense.
If me and him are going to talk on the phone, it's going to be it's Sunday when he's doing his phone calls in his backyard. Because he's getting his son. He's got his certain time. Now, if I call him, he'll pick a time and call me back because he's on the schedule. But now on the road, that made sense because we ate our breakfast. We went to the gym. We went to the tanning bed. We went to the building. Yeah. He made sure all of these things happened. If it had been me, I'd have stayed out probably drinking the night before, laid in the bed till time to go to the building, wouldn't have got a workout in.
Yeah, right.
But Barry Barry kept you on that schedule.
He was kind of militaristic, it sounds like, maybe.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, Barry's going to get a good deal wherever he goes. You can go to Denny's and get the 222, and it's 2 pancakes, 2 sausage, and 2 eggs, and he's going to have he's going to have egg beaters. He's going to have whole wheat toast. It's going to be everything else, but he's going to get it for the $2. The $2.99.
But hey, let's just say this: he's no dummy. Let's just say that he is an old school pro.
He's what you call road smart, and he told me, and he told me several times, Ben, you got to get road smart.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I'll tell you this, I talked to you about bringing Barry on the podcast, and I did talk to Barry. I called him, and honestly, the next day he called me back. That man was so great. We talked for like 20 minutes, and I told Barry, I said, I wish I would have just recorded this phone call right now because it was awesome. But anyway, he's a great guy, and I think the world of him. Even just a little bit I've talked to him, I really can tell what you see in the man. He's a good dude for sure. I got the call from Barry Horowitz. My phone showed on the caller ID Barry Horowitz. I'm just like, well, I'm popping for that. I don't need anything else, So anyway,
so we got you back, working with WWF some, and you talked about working Bam Bam, and you mentioned the Berserker there. Tell us, I got some other names here, and maybe just give us a little bit about those. I've got Owen Hart on the list.
Owen Hart, man, I'm gonna tell you what, Owen probably. There's so many nice, really, to be wrestlers, there's so many nice guys in the business that, they play their persona, this, that, the other. There's so many nice guys. Owen was one of the nicest. And before I get into the working with him, the last time I seen him alive, he actually slept in, I think it was me and Reno, he slept in our floor in our hotel room.
Wow.
Because he was saving that money to send back home for his family.
Right.
And we actually woke him up because we was getting on the red eye, and we woke him up and said, "Here, Owen, get up in one of the beds and get you a couple hours of sleep." Last time I ever seen the man alive.
Wow.
And I hate it because they came to Nashville and I didn't go. I don't like to go, and I feel like if I go and I'm going through the back door, I'm imposing or something, or I feel like people are like, "What's he doing here?" I just don't feel like doing that. So
yeah.
I got a story about that too, but
please,
we'll move on to some of this other stuff.
Sure.
The Owen Hart, me and Owen, of course, I met him. He'd ride with us, room with us, and me and him are walking around the stadium, and he's like, "Hey, where'd you go to high school at?" And I'm like, "Well, I went to Cheatham County." And he's like, "Where's that at?" It's right outside of Nashville, Ashland City. And he goes to play football or wrestle, and I tell him the story. This is a guy that I've seen on TV. His brother was Bret Hart. Yeah. And I'm like thinking, this guy is asking me these questions.
What's he got, a podcast or something?
Yeah. I mean, we're just walking around being like buddies.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Life was kind of surreal back in those days. I'm like going, am I really here?
Right.
Or is this just a dream? Yeah.
Yeah, and, no kidding. Yeah.
But he was great. Had a match with him. We had a match with him when he was doing the thing against Bret.
Yeah,
and he would rip the glasses up. I made a heck of a mistake, and in our match, I stood too close to the corner, and he was doing a drop kick off the top, and I was really close, and he stretched out and kicked me with that drop kick. Whoa! But it was my fault. I was standing too close, and he didn't want to. He was a professional enough not to make his move look bad.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So
did he ever?
Dog kicked out of me.
Did Owen ever rib you?
He did rib me. He ribbed several people.
I know he's legendary, known for it. So
yeah, he's the master. Yeah. He's one of those masters.
And a lot of other people got to see more of the ribs than I did because I wasn't around him that much.
Right.
Rode with him a few times, and of course we done the like I said, he'd sleep in our room, save money, stuff like that. But great guy altogether.
What a just a massive loss it was to pro wrestling when he died.
Yes, it was.
It's one of those pay-per-views that I remember like forever. Like I was there. It's just crazy.
Actually, if I was going to have if I would have had a son as my second child, it was going to be named Owen.
Oh,
it was going to be named, his name was going to be Owen Benjamin. So when my wife at the time was pregnant, it was a girl, So we always joked, and we were going to name her Owena Benjamina. but my daughter is Danielle. She's so happy today. We didn't do that to her.
I bet so.
but she does tell me, you could have named me Owen.
Yeah,
I would have went with it.
We would have rolled with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pro right there for sure.
How about Money Incorporated? DiBiase and Rotunda.
I was disappointed. We were in Nashville at the Municipal Auditorium. Me and Red Tyler.
Yeah.
And we do a match, and we're doing a match, and we go for the finish. And I get pinned. I didn't get $100 shoved in my mouth.
Oh man! Gone it.
If they put that $100 in my mouth, I'm clamping down and I'm going home with that $100.
Yes, sir.
but they didn't do it. Those guys were so smooth. I can't think of anybody up there that wasn't really, really smooth.
Even the Berserker. Was the John Nord?
Berserker's hard to remember, but it might be because when he picked me up and threw me out to the floor, it might have hit my head.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't remember a lot about that match. I don't remember a lot. And is he still with us these days?
He is, yeah. He's still around, yeah.
Okay.
I see him signing gimmicks sometimes, so, yeah.
Okay, I've tried to look that match up. I can't find that match.
Yeah, I couldn't either. So, I've looked for it myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've took the Road Warrior match, but I've recorded it so many times on VHS tape, so I got it somewhere.
Yeah. Brian Turner can find that one for us. Hey, Brian Turner, find the match for us, brother. So, see, that's one thing about missing on social media is the Brian Turner's VHS rehab. You get to see yourself on a video. But anyway, I'm sure you've seen yourself wrestle plenty of times. So
I love Brian Turner. See, him and my son. My son gets along with more of these wrestlers, or not that I don't get along with. He communicates with more of the wrestlers in the generation under me than I do. Him and Jeremiah Plunkett, and all these guys. And I'm like, how did you get to know him? But he met them in the dressing room and then became buddies.
Yeah. Did he ever think about getting in the business, your son?
Let me tell you, I've got a wrestling ring sitting right out there in my backyard. Has been sitting there since COVID hit because we had nothing to do. So we set my ring up. I actually bought that from Jamie Dundee. And guess who? Shane got me in touch. He said Jamie had a ring for sale. And I said, well, my son wants to train. And so it's been sitting out there. And my son don't get in. If I would have had a ring like that in my backyard, you couldn't have stopped me.
Yeah, seriously.
I've been out there every day.
Yeah. Jared and I would have had broken necks.
Our mom would have killed us.
Yeah.
But yeah, he talks about it, and he wants to have a match, and me and him in a match, and I'd love for that to happen, but you got to get up off your butt and get out there in that ring.
Time's ticking, buddy.
And if I ever train my son Russell, if he ever train him, I'm going to train him. Then Jeremiah Plunkett's coming over to train him.
Yeah.
Deal Derek Neal, one of my favorites, is going to come train him.
Just on AEW, by the way,
Yes. I just talked to him about that. I'm like, oh my God, AEW. And it's like, there is hope for the future. I get to see Jeremiah. I get to see Real Deal and Eric Deal. So I may get to see all these guys. I may get back to watching wrestling.
Well, what's funny, Ben, I'm going to say this out on the open here. So you had told me to get in touch with him for a while. And honestly, we've got a list, and I want Derek Neal on the show. But now I'm like, I don't want to ask him like right now after AEW. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because now it seems like I only want him for AEW. And it's like, no, I actually wanted you before that. And tell him, Ben, Derek, if you're listening, Ben, you texted me that like 3 months ago, right? So,
I texted him and told him that I was trying to get y'all together to do the podcast.
And now it just seems like, and now I'm like, man, I can't just text him now and say like, hey, Derek, how's it going? You want to be on my show? It just seems bad timing, but I like the guy. He's a big Reds fan. I've always been
he's a great guy. And I've known him for a long time, and he calls and checks on me, and we talk, and he better not pull that star stuff on us.
Yeah.
Don't forget where you came from, buddy.
No, it wouldn't be like that.
He's too good of a guy.
Yeah, no, we'll get him on. I just want to let this AEW stuff cool down, but I better not because he's likely to get picked up by him and then it'll be really over with, But anyway, yeah, man, that's just awesome. But yeah, okay, so obviously you're wrestling a lot of guys in the WWF. Some names like Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, obviously working with him. And how was working Lawler again after all this time?
Oh, man, I actually got to get some moves in on him up there.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's like Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. Hey, Jerry, we're not in Memphis anymore. But no, it was all him. He called it all. He's like kicked me from the back. Because he was in the angle with Doink the Clown, so had me out there getting the crowd to chant Burger King. And I got to do the moves, where he hits his face and I drop kick him from the back and he hits his face in the corner. He does, he called all of that. I mean, that was all him. And, but, it was great. I'm like, dang, Jerry, at least I got some moves this time,
Yeah.
So,
well, the manager putting the fingers on the apron and he would stomp them. That's a classic Lawler. And whenever he gets to work with a manager, well, I managed Dutch and I knew that Lawler liked to do that. So I just casually laid my hand up there and obviously he worked his way over there and stomped it real big. And I worked later with Shane at the Saw in Millersville, and it was great. I did it, and I was managing against Shane. It was before he and I worked together, and he stomped my hand, and he said, Jimmy, that's awesome. That's a real Lawler thing right there. And I said, where I did that first? And he said, who? He was thinking I did it all the time. And I said, with Jerry Lawler. So, it just tied it all together that the first time I did that was with Lawler. And I had seen other guys do that. It's not like I invented that, finger stomp.
That's a good little part to the show. You got to entertain the crowd. So much of this stuff today, when I look at it, and I don't look at it much, just seems like it's, let me see what all I can do, how many flips I can do, what all I can do. Seeing other guys run down, we're all doing it. And I'm like, can the crowd even keep up with what's going on? Which maybe the modern crowd can. I know people that were in the crowds when I was going to. You had to be a little bit slower, and then not saying nothing about them. I'm just saying you told the story to them, and they loved it. And you get the heat, you get all the. But sometimes I'm wondering now, is it just too fast for anybody to pick up on? And you probably don't have the older generation that used to come to wrestling, the grandmas,
Right.
Man, those, they made it.
Right. Well, more of the story is told on the microphone and less of it in the match. Whereas back in the day, y'all didn't even need the microphone because you could tell the whole story in the match. And I think that's, if that's one sentence I can save and keep and repeat and that, I think that's one of the things that I think about modern wrestling is so much of it is told. Because, nowadays they can take two guys just because they're hashtag dream matchups or whatever, they'll throw them in there with no build up. And it's like, well, why not build that up this dream matchup, and really make it epic instead of just randomly throwing it on a pay-per-view or on a TV, a 15-minute segment on a TV channel. It's just, that's the thing that bugs me about modern wrestling is there's just not enough storytelling. Some people say it's selling. Yes, that's a big part of it. But again, part of storytelling is selling. It's all Shakespeare, it's all that, you got to have all that. And that's brutally missing from current product. Absolutely.
To shoot back to when Lawler beat me and Chris Champion up, some of the comments on the thing was Ben Jordan sold that flip over the desk. You know, it's like people don't sell anymore.
Right, exactly.
It's like the quote from the Shawshank Redemption of the old man when he gets out of prison. He's like, the world went and got itself in a big damn hurry.
Amen.
That's the way they feel about the wrestling sometimes.
Yeah.
You got wrestling, every night of the week, which is great in a way.
Right.
When you had to wait for it, kind of like waiting on Christmas, you love Santa Claus. If Santa Claus came 4 nights a week, you probably wouldn't care if he came or not.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. You go.
I mean, it's like, oh, it's Santa Claus again. Oh, man, Santa. Oh, do we have to have Santa Claus again? Oh, man.
Same old Wayne toys. Bring me something new.
Right. I'm tired of this. I've got enough train sets. I've got enough army men. Come on.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jimmy Street, and that was episode 16 of the Best of James Rock Street Productions, with the first half of episode 42 of Ben Jordan on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. Ben is a great friend and wrestler. He's a positive light in a very dark world, and I'm always grateful whenever he's on any one of my podcasts. Love you, brother. You can hear the full episode and more over on @GMBMPW or Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, wherever you listen to podcasts, or simply click the link in the notes below. We hope you've enjoyed a look back in the archives of James Rock Street Productions. Check us out next week to see what else we have in store. Until then, follow @GMBMPW and @JamesRockStreet everywhere. Peace.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
This has been a James Rock Street production.